Hello, inner shifters, how you doing? Your host, Sophia here. Let's talk about something that often feels overwhelming, but can actually be one of the best things you do for yourself. Setting your goals and preferences when creating a meal plan. And I don't mean this in a rigid, rule-heavy way, but in a way that feels natural, fulfilling, and exciting. Because when you get intentional with food, not strict, not obsessive, just intentional, you start to feel better in ways that go beyond nutrition. So imagine we're sitting together chatting over coffee, and I ask you, what do you actually want from your meals? That question might feel bigger than it seems, because for so long, food has been tied to rules, pressure, trends. But what if you stripped all of that away and asked yourself what you need: energy, comfort, strength, clarity, joy? That's where meal planning starts. Not with a list, not with restrictions, but with you deciding what feels right. I once met someone named Julian, busy, juggling work, kids, barely squeezing in time to eat, let alone plan meals. He told me he always just grabbed whatever was easiest. But after years of exhaustion, headaches, and feeling sluggish, he knew something had to change. Not with a diet, not with guilt, just with a shift. So instead of tackling everything at once, he asked himself, what do I need most right now? His answer: steady energy. He was sick of the crashes. So he started there, adding more protein and fiber to his meals, making small adjustments instead of trying to overhaul his whole life overnight. That shift made everything easier. Because instead of following trends, he followed his own needs. And that's the thing, your meal plan should serve you. There's no one-size-fits-all. Some people need high protein for muscle recovery. Some need anti-inflammatory foods for joint health. Some need comfort and warmth in their meals because food is also emotional. And the beauty of this process, you get to decide what works. The science backs this up too. Studies from Harvard School of Public Health show that individualized meal planning, choosing foods based on personal lifestyle, activity level, and health conditions, leads to better long-term results than rigid dieting. People who set personal food goals, rather than following strict guidelines, report higher satisfaction and consistency with their eating habits. And that consistency, that's what makes the real difference. I knew a woman named Priya who struggled with meal planning for years. She felt stuck between what she should eat and what she wanted to eat, always bouncing between extremes. But the moment she shifted her mindset from restriction to intention, everything changed. She thought, what do I actually love that also makes me feel good? That simple reframing turned meal planning from a chore into a form of self-care. She started adding foods that felt nourishing and enjoyable: bright vegetables, warming grains, spices that reminded her of home. And suddenly, eating wasn't stressful anymore. And it was hers. That's the secret. Meal planning isn't just about organizing food. It's about listening to your body, honoring its needs, choosing from a place of care rather than criticism. And hey, food is supposed to be enjoyed. If a meal plan feels restrictive, it's not sustainable. The best plans are flexible. Maybe you have a goal of eating more protein, but you're craving something light, so you go for lentils instead of chicken. Maybe you want more vegetables, but the thought of salad bores you, so you roast them with olive oil and garlic instead. There's room to make it work for you. I once heard someone say, the way you feed yourself reflects the way you care for yourself. And I think about that every time someone asks me about meal planning. It's not just about nutrients, it's about how you show up for yourself. When you take time to think about what makes you feel good, what keeps you energized, what brings you joy, you're already creating something powerful. So start small. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? What foods make me feel strong, light, happy, energized? Build from there. One meal at a time, one choice at a time. And if one day you find yourself laughing over a beautifully plated meal that feels like pure joy, remember, you created that. You gave yourself that nourishment. And that's the real win. Balanced meals are not only some strict nutrition checklist, more like a conversation about how food actually makes you feel. Because when meals are balanced, not just in nutrients, but in experience, you start to notice everything gets easier. Energy levels stabilize, cravings shift, and eating becomes something you enjoy rather than something you overthink. Also, picture this. You wake up feeling rested, and instead of grabbing coffee on an empty stomach and running out the door, you sit down with a meal that actually fuels you. Maybe eggs and avocado on toast. Maybe oatmeal with berries. But whatever it is, it's got that sweet balance, protein, carbs, healthy fats, all working together to keep you steady. And that steadiness, that's the real magic. I once met a guy named Jake who struggled with his meals for years. He'd go all in on protein, then crash from lack of carbs. Or he'd eat mostly carbs, then feel sluggish from the dips in blood sugar. He kept chasing diets that told him to cut this, avoid that, until one day a nutritionist told him something simple. Food isn't about extremes, it's about balance. That one line flipped a switch for him. He stopped restricting and started building. Proteins, healthy fats, fiber-rich carbs, all mixed together in a way that felt good. And suddenly, he had energy. Not that artificial burst, but sustained, reliable energy that carried him through the day. Science backs this up. Studies from the Journal of Nutrition show that balanced meals, those that combine complex carbs, lean proteins, and healthy fats, help regulate blood sugar, improve focus, and even support mental health. Your brain needs steady nutrition to function well. When meals swing too far in one direction, whether that's too much sugar, too little protein, or barely any fiber, your body feels it. But when they're balanced, you feel stronger. And balanced doesn't mean boring. Think about the richness of different flavors: smooth avocado, crunchy nuts, juicy tomatoes, hearty grains. When meals are balanced, they're satisfying. Have you ever had a meal that left you full but not energized? That's the missing piece. It wasn't balanced. Maybe it lacked enough protein, or the right fats, or the fiber to keep things moving. I had a friend, Elena, who used to hit energy dips every afternoon. She'd grab coffee and a sugary snack, get a temporary boost, then crash hard. But once she started adding more protein and healthy fats to her lunches, things like salmon with quinoa, chickpeas with tahini, even just some nuts with fruit, the crashes stopped. Her brain stopped fogging up by 3 p. Her mood steadied and she felt good. Not just full, but truly nourished. And balance doesn't mean strict measuring. It means listening to your body. Some days you need more carbs, some days more protein. Some meals you crave something light, other times you need something grounding. And trust yourself. If you pay attention, your body tells you what it needs. So when you plan meals, ask yourself, will this give me steady energy? Will I feel good after eating this? That's the real question, not whether it's trendy or fits into some diet label. Food should leave you feeling clear, strong, and satisfied. And when you find that rhythm, eating stops being stressful, it becomes natural. So go easy on yourself. Play with flavors. Build meals that make you excited to eat, not just meals you think you should have. Because when you feed yourself with intention, you feel the difference. And you deserve that difference. About the grocery list, but not like a dull chore, more like a secret weapon that makes life easier, meals more intentional, and stress way lower. Because a grocery list, it's not just about buying food. It's about setting yourself up for success before you even step into the kitchen. I have this friend, Marco, who used to wander into the grocery store with no plan, grab whatever looked good, and then realize halfway through the week that nothing actually went together. Ever been there? You buy ingredients that don't make full meals, forget essentials, and end up ordering takeout way more than expected. It's frustrating. And honestly, a little avoidable. Because the difference between chaotic eating and smooth, effortless meals usually comes down to one thing: planning ahead. Science even backs this up. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who plan their grocery lists based on meals tend to eat healthier, save money, and reduce food waste. That's because planning gives you structure, not a rigid schedule, but an outline that makes food choices intentional. And when food choices are intentional, everything feels easier. I once met a woman named Nina who told me she felt anxious at grocery stores. Too many choices, too much pressure to pick the right foods. But once she started writing down a simple list before going, she felt grounded. She wasn't navigating aisles aimlessly anymore. She had a purpose, a path, and that confidence changed how she approached food altogether. That's the thing, a grocery list isn't about restrictions. It's not about forcing yourself to only buy kale or avoiding snacks entirely. It's about having a game plan so that when life gets busy, meals still happen. And nourishing ones, simple ones, ones that actually work with your week instead of making you panic at dinner time. Think about it like setting up your future self for success. You take a few minutes now, before hunger, before decision fatigue, to figure out what you need. Then when you get home and it's time to cook, everything's ready. No extra stress, no guessing. And honestly, a grocery list lets you enjoy shopping more. Ever gone in without one and ended up doubling back across the store 5 times? Or forgetting the one key ingredient you actually needed? The list saves you from that. It streamlines everything so you're out faster, more focused, and maybe even having a little fun picking out the ingredients you know will turn into something delicious. So here's the move: before heading out, take a breath, check your meals for the week, and jot down what you actually need. Think balance: proteins, grains, veggies, something fun. No need for a perfect list, just something that gives you clarity when you're in the store. That clarity, it makes the whole process smoother, more enjoyable, less overwhelming. Because food isn't supposed to be a struggle. It's supposed to be something that supports you, something that feels good, something that fits into life effortlessly. And when your meals have a plan, when your grocery runs make sense, when food decisions feel intentional, it's not just about eating better. It's about living better. All right, let's talk about meal prep. But not in a rigid meal in containers for the week kind of way. More like a simple, stress-reducing habit that makes life easier, food more intentional, and your days way smoother. You ever have one of those weeks where dinner sneaks up on you every night? Where you meant to cook but ended up grabbing whatever was easiest because energy was low, decisions felt overwhelming, and honestly, you just didn't have the time? That's where meal prep saves the day. It's not about cooking everything in advance. It's about setting yourself up for success before the chaos starts. I had a friend, Leo, who used to tell me I'd cook at home if it didn't take so much effort. But when we looked at his habits, it wasn't cooking that exhausted him, it was the scrambling. The late-night grocery runs. The chopping after a long workday. The mental energy spent asking, what do I even eat tonight? Once he started prepping just a little batch cooking rice, cutting up veggies ahead of time, marinating proteins overnight, dinner stopped feeling like a burden. It became easy. That tiny bit of effort beforehand saved him hours of stress later. Science backs this up too. Research from the Journal of Behavioral Nutrition found that meal prepping reduces impulsive eating choices, improves diet quality, and decreases food waste. That's because when meals are semi-prepped, you're less likely to default to processed options or order takeout out of sheer exhaustion. You already have something ready. And that readiness, that's power. And meal prep doesn't have to be a huge event. Some people do a full batch cook Sunday, and that's great. But it can also be simple, washing and chopping produce in advance, cooking grains in bulk, portioning snacks for easy grab-and-go moments. Even one prepped ingredient makes a difference. Ever had pre-cooked quinoa in the fridge? You can throw it in a salad, mix it into a stir-fry, make a bowl in minutes. No extra effort required. I knew a woman, Myra, who struggled with cooking because time felt tight. She'd buy groceries with good intentions, but end up letting them sit in the fridge until they went bad. But once she started prepping just one thing, a base grain, a protein, even just a batch of roasted veggies, her meals became effortless. She told me, "I never realized how much easier eating well could be until I stopped waiting until I was hungry to figure it out." That's the shift. Meal prep isn't just about food, it's about energy management. It's about giving your future self a break. Imagine coming home after a long day and knowing that half the work is already done. You feel relieved, not overwhelmed. So the next time you think about meal planning, think about prep too. Even small efforts, pre-cut veggies, cooked grains, marinated proteins, set you up for success. They take the pressure off. They make meals a joy instead of a stress point. Because when food is ready for you, it becomes easier to nourish yourself, to enjoy eating, to feel good about how you're fueling your life. Flexibility in meal planning. Not in a rigid rule-following way, but in a way that feels freeing, because food should fit into your life, not the other way around. Here's the thing, plans are great. They give structure, they take stress off decision-making, they help make sure you've got the right ingredients ready. But life does not care about your plans. Some days things get busy, cravings shift, schedules throw curveballs. If you don't have room for adjustment, meal planning can start to feel like pressure instead of support. I knew a guy named Evan who went all in on meal plannings. He'd map out his meals down to the exact portion sizes, prepped everything in advance, had a full color spreadsheet. And for a while it worked. But then he hit a wall, started dreading meals because there was no choice left. One night he told me, "I made dinner, but I don't even want to eat it." That was his sign. He needed flexibility. He needed meals that felt natural, not ones that felt like homework. So he started leaving room in his plan for swaps, adding wild card meals where he could cook based on what he felt like that day. And suddenly, food was fun again. Science backs this up too. Studies from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that strict, inflexible diets tend to fail long-term because they don't allow for real-life changes, social events, mood shifts, seasonal cravings. People who build adaptability into their eating habits tend to maintain better nutrition and a healthier relationship with food. Flexibility doesn't mean throwing the plan away, it means working with it. It means allowing yourself to swap a meal if something doesn't sound good that day. It means keeping easy-to-use ingredients around so last-minute meals aren't stressful. It means remembering that planning meals is supposed to help you, not control you. I knew a woman named Mia who loved planning but hated feeling locked in. She found her balance by using meal themes rather than exact recipes: grain bowl night, stir-fry night, pasta night. That way, she could mix and match ingredients based on what she had and what she craved, without starting from scratch every day. That flexibility kept her consistent without feeling restricted. Because here's the truth, food is personal. Some days you'll want something lighter. Some days something heartier. Some days the meal you planned won't match how you feel. And that's okay. Flexibility isn't failing. It's trusting yourself. It's knowing that food is meant to nourish you, not stress you out. So when you build your meal plan, leave space. Maybe one day is a leftovers or freestyle day. Maybe you swap ingredients depending on what's fresh. Maybe you prep some base ingredients but decide on the final dish later. Whatever works, works. Because the best meal plan, the one you actually enjoy following, is the one that feels natural, kind, and easy, not like a rule book but like a rhythm. So let yourself shift. Let yourself swap. Let yourself listen to what feels good each day. Your meals should fit you. And when they do, you'll never feel stuck again. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.